Hey guys, Eber here with Hardware Canucks, and while we were walking through the Computex show floor, we spotted a couple of interesting things at the ASRock booth. No, it wasn't a motherboard or a graphics card, but rather a storage demo that showed some absolutely epic speeds. But before we get into that, I want to thank Fantex, Cooler Master, and Thermaltake for sponsoring our Computex 2018 coverage. Okay, about that epic storage test. Basically, ASRock had a test system set up with their X299 professional gaming i9-XE motherboard and this. Yep, that's the same ASRock Ultra Quad NVMe RAID card we saw at this year's CES, but it's now being used in a ridiculously fast system. It uses an integrated fan and a metal shroud that makes contact with the internal SSDs via thermal pads for increased cooling capacity. But it was the internals that blew our minds. Inside were 4 of Intel's new 380GB NVMe Optane 905p SSDs placed in a RAID array. These are actually some of the most advanced SSDs currently on the market, and it delivers blazing fast speeds. This is actually the first time we were seeing this drive in action since the 380GB was just announced at Computex. Basically, it's equipped with Intel's new 3D crosspoint memory that is not only fast but durable too. Each of these drives is rated at 10 drive writes per day, which is crazy considering most standard SSDs have a rating of between 1 and 3. These 4 SSDs ended up hitting speeds of almost 11 GB per second for reads and 10 GB per second writes. This is kind of the array that would be amazing for creative editors or anyone who needs ultra quick access to massive files. Do you guys see any use for this in your own workflows? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, another computer that we were actually able to finally get our hands on is the latest update to Intel's Optane memory ecosystem. As a small refresher, Optane memory allows you to boost the performance of slower SSDs or hard drives by caching bits of information on ultra-fast memory. By using an algorithm that learns your habits, they're able to improve the load times of your most used applications. Back when it was first launched, Optane memory was a bit limited since it could only accelerate your primary drive or partition through its caching algorithm. Now, Intel is allowing the Optane memory modules like the Optane SSD 800p, the Optane SSD 900p drives to boost performance of any secondary drives or partitions as well. This is pretty big news for anyone who runs a smaller capacity SSD as their primary C drive in parallel with a larger capacity hard drive for their game installs and other space-hungry files. In this case, ASRock was using a pretty slow 1TB Seagate hard drive and an Optane SSD in the background. Both partitions could easily hit over 1 GB per second read speed. Just amazing. So our visit to ASRock wouldn't have been complete without at least one motherboard, and this one certainly stood out. Say hello to the J3455 Pro BTC Plus, a pretty unique motherboard that's targeted at, you guessed it, miners who want to run a huge number of graphics cards. In this case, you can run up to 8 GPUs off PCI slots, which according to ASRock is a much more stable setup than linking them up via USB headers like Asus did with their latest mining-centric motherboard. Each one of those slots also has a dedicated Molex power connector. With that being said, there's 3 USB headers dedicated towards additional graphics card support if you want to expand the mining capacity to 11 GPUs. Since mining on GPUs don't require a huge amount of CPU horsepower, ASRock integrated an inexpensive Apollo Lake processor onto the board. The other interesting thing about this motherboard is its form factor. Honestly guys, this thing looks like a long portfolio and it definitely won't fit into a standard ATX case. The J3455 Pro is meant to be installed into an open test station environment where form factors are less of a concern. So that's it from ASRock, guys. It was really cool to see some of these storage setups which target very different use case scenarios, but what do you guys think? Is Optane something that you would look into now that its capabilities have been expanded into its options for you? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to check out these additional videos from Computex 2018. I'm Eber with Hardware Canucks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.